right? Like a hippopotamus is a water horse. Hippo is a horse, and so Phil loved horses, right? So he was a horseman. Philip and Alexander, Alex means Alexandros. So Alex is savior of men, interesting enough. And Alexander is going to study with Aristotle for approximately 2 years, and then his father Philip is assassinated. And so Alexander heads back to take control of the army and marches the army into Persia, and as you're probably familiar, conquers a much larger empire, goes all the way into India, ends up becoming ill and ends up dying probably from infected wounds. And at that point, but during the time that Alexander is on this quest, he's in touch with his teacher Aristotle and has approximately 2,000 men detailed to bring things of interest back to his teacher. And so his teacher's, I think of it as kind of like a zoo, with all these animals and things that are coming in. And clearly Aristotle didn't do all the work himself. He must have had a team of folks at his school where he cataloged all these things and everybody described them to add them to this collection of knowledge. Right? When Alexander died, Athens rebelled against those Macedonians and followers of Alexander that were there in Athens, including Aristotle. And so Aristotle fled from Athens, lest Athens sin twice against philosophy. First sin, killing Socrates. Can't kill me, that would be bad. So he leaves and heads back to the island Lesbos, where he had the lagoon, right? And Theophrastus ended up becoming the head of his school once he left. And Theophrastus was the botanist, remember? But in any case, he lived for a few more years and then died. And everybody knows that the reason Alexander died was excess of moderation. That was a joke? Okay, so moderation in all things is one of the catchphrases for Aristotle. So the joke is he died from excessive moderation. Actually, I think he drowned because he was getting one more interesting fish. He had too much jewelry on. Sunk, I guess. I don't know. My own thought. How that happened. But so at that point, his works ended up being hid in a cellar, which wasn't a good place for them. You can look that up and you can see the history of them, but basically Plato's philosophy is the one that becomes dominant, because Aristotle at that point is not the one in favor, right? And so Plato's philosophy becomes the dominant one, but Aristotle's philosophy is out there, and as a result it influences different individuals. So when we move on to the next class, we're going to be looking at the I probably don't have it. We'll be looking at the post-Aristotelians, and I have lots of links for them. Each of them has written things, so we'll be looking at those, and we'll take them all at once and focus on what happens as the Romans take over with their empire. Fun? Questions?
What was the quiz question again?
Quiz question is, how do you raise a good child here and now? And hopefully some of you will actually raise some and do a good job with them. I know not everyone does, but apparently only 20% of males will have a child.
1%.
one hour.
I